don't quote it because you're not sure. But this version is right, I know, remember. Man lam yarif imama zamanihi faqad mata matat al-jahiliya. Yes. And this is the reliable one, and this, because this has an internal logic. It means that if somebody is born in the time of an imam, a leader which has been appointed by God, and he refused to recognize him, fails to recognize him, then he has died the death of an ignorant person. So after that, the question you were about to raise would not arise. That doesn't guarantee that every age must have an imam. This tradition does not guarantee. What it says is simply this, that if somebody is present when there is also an imam and he does not recognize him, then he has died the death of an ignorant person. It holds water, it's so logical. Yes, Dr. Nazir Sahib?
It just occurred to me, the difference I want to be clarified to Imam al-Lafa and Imam al-Nubuwwah. First, this ayat in Quran, Allah Ta'ala alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati yastakhifuna fil ardi kama yastakhifuna alladhina min qablihim fala yumakkinu dinahum lahum fala yubatilunhum ba'da amna wa ya'buduna min ghayri min shay'a wa kafara ba'da dhalika fa ulaika
hum fasiqun, not kafirun.
No, yes.
Yes, yes. So that is the answer to your question. Yes, yes. Yes. Any other question, please? You know, the question he wanted to ask was, whoever refuses to believe in a Khalifa, not in a prophet, will he be also bracketed with kafir, kuffar, that is non-believers, or infidels, whatever name you give them. And then he completed the verse, he knew the answer. It was already mentioned in that verse at the end, that if you reject a Khalifa, don't believe in him, you become a fasik and not a kafir. If you follow the Prophet of that ummah and don't reject him, and you don't believe in Khalifa, then you are a man with rejectable conduct. Your conduct is bad. But your doctrine will not be rejected as such because you believe in the Prophet of that ummah. So, yes, please. You have thought of another question, another couple of questions? Yes. Rashid Sahib, huh? Yes, please.
Would I just make a statement before I ask the question?
Of course, yes, go ahead.
At the Hadith al-Jamaat, we asked a question to the vicar belonging to the Church of England.
Yes.
About the text of Genesis.
Yes.
And I've also read in the Catholic magazine the same thing referring to Genesis. The Church of England vicar said that what is written in Genesis is mythical. This is his word, and it shouldn't be taken literally. It's the truth is deeper than that. So, and the Catholic magazine said the same thing, that it's a fictional account. So that surprised me hearing from these sources. The question is, how do you know which part is literal and or metaphorical in all these holy books? What criteria do you use?
Well, after all that has been said and done about it, one is left with no definite criterion, unfortunately. You know, the fact is that Church has gone through a very, very long history, spreading over about 2000 years. And for the things which were gradually learned by man and were found in contradiction with Bible to a degree, they had an answer applicable to that time. So their position kept on shifting along with the discovery of man or the increasing knowledge of man. So this is the present day stance, which is not the stance of the yesterday. Yesterday this stance was completely different. There was a time, at the time of Galileo, when Galileo said this, that I don't deny the authenticity of Bible or for it to be a word of God. What I say is something may be metaphorical, may be mythical, and you should not take it too seriously and literally. And what is literally true is this, what we discover. And he was, as you know, he was almost condemned to death, and he had to, retrieve his step, and that is the one dishonorable blemish on his character which the scientists have never been able to forgive him. That to save his life, he took an equivocal position and started retracing his meaning by saying his words, by saying, no, I meant this and I meant that, and he was guided there by such people who had friendship with both the parties, the church as well as Galileo. And they taught him, if you use these words, you will wriggle out of this and no punishment will be meted out to you. But a punishment was meted out to him by God, not by the church this time. He ended up blind. The person who invented the telescope ended up blind. And when you read his comments on this, they're so pathetic. I'm quite certain that it was a punishment. He wanted to escape from the punishment of the church, which wanted to mete out a punishment to him in the name of God, but not actually from God. So he escaped that temporary punishment, but met a punishment at the hands of God, which was so ironical for him too, which just fitted with his situation. He wrote in the end that I was the man who gave, I don't remember exactly the words, but who enlarged the mind of man. It was so limited. It was limited to a very small universe. I expanded the universe for mankind. And now I find myself squeezed into just the body where I belong. And all that expansion has been taken away from me. The sight plays such a role, and as if he gave expansion to the universe and then got squeezed into that small place and was made a prisoner of his body. His expression is very beautiful. I don't remember the exact words, but this is the essence of that. So this is in fact what church used to do previously regarding the understanding of the Bible. So they go on changing their stance according to the relationship of knowledge of that time with them, and they want to keep people's faith alive, whatever they may discover. So the times are over when they used to say that, well, that this is literal, whether you believe it or not. Now they say, no, it's not literal. So believe whatever you may, but don't reject the Bible. So there is a sort of passive compromise, not a real power. I must warn you. This is why the present day generations are turning more towards atheism. They don't show a violent reaction against this. They say, all right, you can live in a sort of compromise. We won't challenge it. If it is mythical, let it be mythical. But we are no longer the same believers as we used to be in the earlier centuries, when we considered this book to be literal. Now it could be anybody's imagination. It may not be the word of God at all. And also the concept of its being mythical does not solve all the questions raised by internal contradictions in many places. So this is why the subject you raised is very important. This is why Islam takes the stance that wherever you find something against the creation of God.